What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing something pretty special. As most of you guys know, the NBA playoffs are well on their way to starting. The NBA playoffs are upon us, and so obviously nothing is set in stone right now. There's still a couple games left to play, but I want to come on here and predict the NBA playoffs if they were to start today, and then I'll probably do a prediction video once they're actually set. I just want to get this one out of the way quickly just because I needed content ideas, and this is a content idea. So, yeah, without further ado, we are getting right into this thing. Starting off with the current play-in picture. We'll start in the East. Okay. The 7-8 matchup, Miami and Atlanta. I'm sorry, the Atlanta Hawks, you are going home. Well, I mean, you're going to the loser bracket of the play-in tournament. But unfortunately, the Atlanta Hawks, I think they're going to lose this game. I think that there is so much to say about this team. I mean, obviously, if the play-in tournament didn't exist, the playoffs were the same format that they had been all this time before the play-in tournament, then the Hawks would have just been in the playoffs. They would have had the Bucks the first round. That would have been it. Obviously, we had the play-ins now. I actually don't think that the Hawks played a level this year that would even have earned them a guaranteed playoff spot, which is why I think the play-in tournament is good, because I think the Raptors might even be more deserving of it. I mean, obviously, the Hawks were a pretty hyped-up team in like the offseason. You know, the DeJounte Murray trade, him and Trae Young trying to go off ball more, and how he would function in that. And, you know, they drafted like AJ Griffin, and things just kind of looked up for them. And all of a sudden, here they are, and they're fighting for a playoff spot, you know, and so they can still get one. But I am going to have them losing to Miami. I think Miami has been a pretty good team. I got to pull up like defensive and offensive ratings. But I think when you look at it, like Miami's defensive rating is like, it is pretty good. They're like middle of the pack defensively, and the Hawks they're okay. The Hawks are an okay defensive team, but like Trae Young is just not a guy who can be consistently good enough on defense in a playoff series. And I trust Jimmy Butler to be clutch more than I trust either of Young or DeJounte. I could definitely see the Hawks somehow pulling this out, but the way that they've been playing this season, they've been so inconsistent. The inconsistency really kills you in the playoffs, and that's probably what's going to end up happening here. So they're going to drop into, yeah, like I said, into the losers bracket for the play-in tournament. Miami will go on to play Boston, and then we have Toronto and Chicago. I may be biased, okay, but the Bulls stink. They stink. I'm not even sure most Bulls fans would come on here and disagree with me. Okay, like if I did a podcast episode about the NBA, I brought a Bulls fan on like before the playoffs. Hopefully, I will be actually doing that. And I said, hey, I think the Raptors are going to win because the Bulls stink. How hard do you think they would fight me on that? I honestly don't think they would fight me too much on it, because to be completely honest, the Raptors are a better basketball team. Yeah, I think one thing it really comes down to is the center play. And Jakob Poeltl has been a huge difference maker. I've been raving about this on Substack and on TikTok since the trade happened. Been a huge piece for the Raptors. He was exactly what they needed to get the deadline. And he is going to probably dominate Nikola Vucevic. Vucevic, love him to death. He was one of my favorite NBA players growing up when he was on the Magic and everything. Still is definitely up there. But Vuce, I don't think he can hang. The Raptors have one of the best rim protectors in the league, and Jakob Poeltl, and Vucevic already isn't that good offensively, and the Raptors have an advantage in most statistical categories. I mean, Siakam and Van Vliet, and the offensive firepower is going to be enough to overwhelm what is a pretty bad defensive team in Chicago. They are a bottom tier defensive team. Their rating is only a 111.8 to the Raptors 113.2 defensive rating. Really just poor defensive play from the Bulls this year. I don't think there's anybody denying that. I think that ultimately the Raptors' offensive firepower and their depth, you know, because you have guys like Scotty and Pascal and Fred and Gary Trent Jr., and Jakob Pertl, and then you have OG still, and you have Precious Achua still, and you have Boucher still, you have Thad, and you have Malachi Flynn, all guys who can score. And while Thad and Flynn haven't been that great this year, I do think that there is some viability to their roles on the team and to the depth of the team. So all this to say, also the Bulls they're riddled with injuries. They don't have that much depth. I mean, missing Lonzo is killer for them. I definitely could see the Bulls pulling this one out. And now that I've talked all this about the Raptors, they probably will. But I'm going to give it to the Raptors. That gives us Raptors Atlanta. Raptors Atlanta. Okay. The Hawks actually have a better defensive rating than the Raptors do. Okay. But do you trust Trae Young to clutch up on defense? Do you trust him to clutch up on offense? See, I don't know. Because shooting-wise, the Raptors, I'm pretty sure, are a better team. Shooting-wise, the Raptors, their field goal percentage is at a 63.8, whereas the Hawks is a 64. So, it's a 2.2% difference. Wait, that's just... Yeah, field goal percentage from, 3-point range. The Raptors and the Hawks are pretty close. They're pretty close in a lot of shooting metrics. I just think that, again, it's another situation where the Raptors' offensive thing just kind of overwhelms and dominates this defense. So I'm going to give it to the Raptors, and they will go on to play Milwaukee. So moving on to the second round of the NBA playoffs in the East. We're just going to go right through each conference. Milwaukee and Toronto will start with the 1 seed. It's a sweep for the Bucks. I mean, it is a sweep for the Bucks. I would be so shocked if this is the scenario and the Raptors get to play the Bucks. I would just be happy to be there because I think that the Raptors would get absolutely crushed. I mean, Giannis is probably going to win MVP. They don't have Middleton, but it does not seem to matter. The best record in the NBA. They've clinched the 1 seed. Giannis is a freak. Giannis is going to do to us what LeBron did to us for so many years. Okay, LeBronto is going to be Giannis this time around. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any escaping that inevitability. 8 seeds very rarely beat the 1 seeds, and the Raptors are not going to be a team that does that, especially against this Bucks team. So give me the Bucks there. They are moving on. They are moving on to the conference semis. And then Cleveland, let's go down the list. Cleveland, New York. Give me the Knicks. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is the best player on the court in a Cleveland, New York Knicks series. I think it's a very close series. I think this is a 7-game series. I think this is Cavs in 7. I think Donovan Mitchell is way too good. I think Evan Mobley would have a good series. I think Darius Garland would have a good series. I think as far as it comes to shooting and stuff, I think that I would probably give the advantage. It looks like, if I can find it. There they are. The Knicks field goal percentage is not very good compared to some other teams. And then, of course, you have the Cavs, who actually have a pretty good field goal percentage all around. Not really the best 3-point shooting team. I don't think it really matters. Donovan Mitchell, like I said, he is a monster in the playoffs. We know this. He'd be the best player on the court, and I think that it's pretty fair and easy. I think you could make the argument that Jalen Brunson could go off if he stays healthy, but he's been super inconsistent as far as health has gone this year, so I don't necessarily trust him to be healthy all series. So give me Cleveland in that one. And then Philadelphia and Brooklyn. It is going to sound crazy. And trust me, I know. Give me the Brooklyn Nets, man. Mikal Bridges is just legitimately so good, okay? There's a reason, okay, why everybody thought he was good, but he wasn't really producing because he was on a team with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. You put him on a team where he is the number 1 guy in Brooklyn, if you want to argue that he is number 1 guy. And he has just been fantastic. I mean, Mikal Bridges... I need to pull up the numbers right now. Mikal Bridges right now is averaging 20 a game, okay? I mean, 20 a game on 46.8% shooting. I mean, he's actually shooting very, very well. And tonight they play the 76ers. Or tomorrow they play the 76ers, so I guess we'll see how it goes. I think this is my big upset pick, okay? I think that the Sixers are kind of, I don't know. I'm going to end up getting burned for this. This is my, like, obviously I'm going to have one more playoff prediction video once the playoffs actually come out. But for now, I am picking the Brooklyn Nets to upset the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. Then Boston, Miami. I love the Miami Heat. They gave Boston a run for their money last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. Very, very. I mean, they were one Jimmy Butler shot going in away from being in the NBA Finals again. I'm going to give it to Boston. Jason Tatum's an MVP candidate. They're incredibly sound defensively. Jaylen Brown, he is a great player. Marcus Smart is a great player. They have good depth. They have good role players. They have good everything. I mean, Robert Williams, obviously a great defensive player. They have everything they need to really make a serious run. And this one I think this is going to be another just dominant run for the Celtics. I think that they are right up there with Milwaukee. I think that the Celtics beat them by 41 last time they were out. They are 2-1 against them on the season. The Celtics beat them by 41. I don't know if I said that. I know this isn't a series talking about the Bucks versus the Celtics, but we might be eventually. But Celtics are right there with the Bucks. I'm giving it the series to them all day. So that would give Milwaukee, Brooklyn in the second round, and Cleveland to Boston. This is where I think Brooklyn's run would end. I think Milwaukee's the best team in basketball, and Milwaukee takes the series. I don't really know what else I have to say. There was nobody on that Nets team, who can even come close to stopping Giannis. He would probably drop 35 to 40 a game against his team. So they're moving on pretty easily. Cleveland, Boston. Give me Boston. I think Cleveland is a little bit of a sleeper team to go to like the conference finals maybe or whatever, but I don't think so. So give me Boston. And we have just a boring 1-2 Boston, Milwaukee, Eastern Conference Finals, where it would probably go to 6 or 7, but it will be Milwaukee. The Bucks, I might sound biased to my Wisconsin fandom with the Packers. I'm not a Bucks fan though. But I think you watch this team and they are so very clearly the best team in basketball. They have the best record in basketball. I mean, it is just like, I don't know what else you have to see from this team for them to be your clear-cut favorites out of the East. I mean, Celtics are right up there with them, and like I said, the Celtics have crushed them before. But like I said, this would go to 6 or 7. This would be a tough-fought series, but I think ultimately Milwaukee would come out of it, and they are my pick from the East right now to get out of it. All right, moving over to the West play-in tournament, Minnesota OKC and Lakers Pelicans. Lakers Pelicans. That's how it is right now. Right now, the Lakers they win and they're playing Memphis. It's so tough, but it's LeBron James and it's Anthony Davis, and they're playing super well. As much as I hate to admit it, give me the Lakers there, and they move right on to play Memphis in the second round. The first round of the playoffs. Minnesota OKC. I am going to take the Timberwolves. I don't think this is a team built for the playoffs. For OKC, I could see Shea just going absolutely ballistic and carrying this team. But give me the Timberwolves. I think they're too good to lose this game. So then Timberwolves, Pelicans. It's tough. I'm taking Minnesota though. Minnesota will get out of the play-ins and they'll play Denver. Obviously, the Lakers playing against Memphis. So, Memphis, let's start with Denver, Minnesota. This could be a close series. Okay, Gobert on Jokic. If the Timberwolves had a better offensive center, then I would maybe go on the limb and make this an 8-1 upset, because Jokic is terrible on defense. As much as you hate to admit it, he's been a guy who's deserving of all his MVPs. He's deserving of both his MVPs. But the guy is just a complete and total liability on defense. I don't think there's any way you can spin it to where he wouldn't be. So definitely a concern there, but Gobert is not going to make him pay for that, obviously. They could do some stuff with Cat and maybe work that. Maybe it's a close series than definitely would be a close series than the Bucks and the Raptors would be. I think this goes to 5 or 6, but Denver does take the win and they move on to the conference semis. Phoenix and Golden State, a series that everybody has wanted to see for so long. I'm going to take Golden State. Okay. This Suns team is not a team that has been particularly great in the playoffs. I mean, obviously they've made the West. I mean, they got absolutely crushed in the conference semis by the Mavericks last year. They've been time and time again just completely lackluster in the playoffs. I mean, obviously they made the finals, but they didn't really put much of a fight against the Bucks. Once they run into these good teams, I think it's over. And Golden State is always going to be equipped to make a run with Steph. I'm going to give it to Golden State. 5 seed moves on there. Sacramento Clippers. This is a tough series for the Kings. I'm happy that they made the playoffs. I think they're a good enough team to do it. It's tough. You know what? Yeah, give me the Kings. Take the Kings there. And then Memphis Lakers. Sorry. Lakers and LeBron truthers, not getting past the Grizzlies. I mean, the Grizzlies have been kind of a mess just on and off the court at different points this year, but they have a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Jaren Jackson Jr., a guy who probably will end up winning Defensive Player of the Year before this, before the year's all said and done. I'll probably end up winning it. So I'm going to move on with Memphis. That's going to give Memphis, Sacramento, and Denver, Golden State. Denver runs into Golden State again. And do we have any reason to believe that this would end differently this time? Maybe Jokic does it, but I don't think so. Give me the Warriors to the Western Conference Finals. As much as I hate to say it, they might not even get past Phoenix. But again, I'll be making one more, so I'll think about this stuff a little more. But give me Golden State to the Western Conference Finals, and then Sacramento, Memphis. Give me the Kings, maybe. Memphis is good. So is Sacramento. I think give me Memphis in 6 or 7. I think that's definitely tough to go on this kind of drought and then just make a run for the Kings, but I definitely could see it happening. So Memphis, Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. Give me Golden State. Why not? Golden State to the finals, and then Bucks, Warriors. Give me the Bucks. The Bucks. If the NBA playoffs started today, the Bucks would be NBA champions. It might even stay the same after I make my final predictions once the playoff bracket's set. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys agree with my takes. Do everything you can. Go to the channel, like, comment, subscribe, do everything you can. We'll see you next time.